You know, there's a story behind this song, Nearer My God to Thee. Well, it was said that few hymns have been sung in more tragic circumstances than this one on the night of April 14, 1912, on board the sinking Titanic. The great ship was on its maiden voyage to New York with a happy expectant company of over 2,000 people. And shortly before midnight on the third day on the Atlantic, as the evening parties on the ship were breaking up, the ship shuddered from stem to stern. Oh, the lights, however, still blazed, and the band played while the passengers turned to one another with anxious looks, and none of them doubted that all was well. And then the alarms rang through the ship, and within a few minutes, passengers were standing on the deck with their life belts, and they knew that the ship had struck an iceberg and that the sea was pouring into a vast rent down below. Oh, the supply of life belts and lifeboats proved inadequate. And while the great ship listed heavily towards her doom, alternate waves of fear and calm spread through the passengers lining the decks. And it was said it was then that the band played the tune, Nearer My God to Thee. Nearer, my God, to Thee, nearer to Thee, even though it be a cross that raiseth me, still all my song shall be nearer, my God, to Thee, nearer, my God, to Thee, nearer to Thee. Though like the the sun gone down, darkness be over me, my rest a stone. Yet in my dreams I'd be nearer, my God, to Thee, nearer, my God, to Thee, nearer to Thee. There let the way appear, steps unto heaven, all that Thou sendest me in mercy given. Angels to beckon me near, my God, to Thee, near, my God, to Thee, near to Thee. Then with my waking thoughts, bright with Thy praise, out of my stony griefs, Bethel I'll raise. So by my woes to be nearer, my God, to Thee, near, my God, to Thee, near to Thee. safe and at rest, there in my Savior's love, perfectly blessed. Still all my song shall be near, my God, to thee, nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee. Yes, I'd like to include some trivia about the RMS Titanic. It was said that the first lifeboat was released an hour after the iceberg struck. You know, it may seem like common sense for a ship to immediately release safety lifeboats upon the hull breach. Well, the Titanic, however, did not release its first lifeboat until an entire hour had elapsed. Oh, what remains of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean will eventually be entirely eaten away by rust-eating bacteria. They say the ship carried 2,223 passengers and crew. Of that 2,223 people aboard the Titanic, 1,517 did not survive that collision with the iceberg. Well, the ship was not even at full capacity. It could hold more than 3,500 people. Oh, some 100,000 people attended the ship's launch that first time it went into the water on May 31st, 1911. Yes, it's estimated that roughly 1/3 of the population of Belfast watched the just over a minute-long launch. Well, the ship was just under 900 feet long, measured 882 feet and 9 inches in length. Well, that made it the biggest vessel of its time. Oh, as of this writing, the biggest ship now is over 1,200 feet long. Well, the ship burned an estimated 825 tons of coal per day. Well, the Titanic was far from a light craft. It weighed almost 46,000 tons. Yes, it was reported that 825 tons of coal per day and 159 furnaces that heated 29 boilers. Well, the ship cost over $7 million to construct. Yes, the giant vessel was $7.5 million to build in the early 20th century. Well, that would be equivalent to more like $183 million in today's dollars. It was ironic that only 2 workers died while building the ship, but there might have been others who were killed. One of them fell from a ladder and fatally fractured his skull, and one was squashed by timber that fell while transporting the Titanic from the shipyard to the dock where it was launched. Well, the ship took over 2 years to build. Well, there was 20 horses were needed to transport the main anchor. You see, that anchor weighed 16,000 tons or more than 30,000 pounds. It had to be transported 2 miles from the casting site in town to the train station in 1911. And only 23 of the 908 crew on board were female, and only 3 did not survive the collision. Of the 885 male crew members, a tragic 693 died and went down with the ship. Yes, less than 1/3 of all the people aboard the ship survived. Only 705 of the 2,223 passengers and crew made it back home. Some 61% of the passengers who survived were first-class guests. Less than 25% of the third-class passengers survived. Oh, the temperature of the seawater was below freezing when the ship sank. Water temperatures were as cold as 28 degrees Fahrenheit. It was said the human body can survive up to 45 minutes in freezing water. Yes, the Titanic was able to carry 64 lifeboats, but for some reason they only carried 20. And many of the lifeboats that actually were launched from the Titanic that night did not pack as many patrons as they could have held. Well, the iceberg, they said, made a 300-foot gash in the hull of the boat. Yes, it must have been a rude awakening when the crew assessed the site of the strike, and, well, 5 compartments had already flooded with water, and the bow was already nearly beginning to submerge. It took over 7 decades to find the ship's ruins. Yes, it was said the remains of the Titanic were not found until 1985, about 73 years after the vessel sunk. Yes, it was said the musicians played for more than 2 hours as the ship went down. Well, it's actually unclear which songs were played as the ship went down, but one can only imagine how somber the atmosphere must have been. Yes, near, my God, to thee, even though it be a cross that raiseth me, well, still all my song shall be near, my God, to thee. Yes, near, my God, to thee.